There we go. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Expo Online, your digital portal for Pacific Marine Expo on nationalfisherman.com. I'm your host, Jessica Hathaway, Editor-in-Chief of National Fisherman Magazine. As part of our ongoing conference and education series, today I'm sitting down with the Salmon Sisters. Salmon Sisters is run by co-founders, Fisherman and Sisters, Emma and Claire. They grew up on a homestead in Alaska's remote Aleutian Islands, and their family makes their livelihood harvesting wild seafood from Alaska's pristine and bountiful waters. Since they were young, Emma and Claire have worked on commercial fishing boats and continue to fish each summer while running their businesses from land and water. Their new cookbook, The Salmon Sisters, Fishing, Feasting, and Living in Alaska, is complete with 50 of their family's favorite recipes, illustrations, and stories from the sea. Welcome, Emma and Claire.
Thanks so much for having us, Jess.
Yeah, this is a treat. Really appreciate it.
Me too. This is a real treat for me. I'm used to seeing you every year in Seattle at least once at Pacific Marine Expo, and I'm really missing seeing everyone this year, eating lots of good food and catching up on all the gossip that we probably won't be able to share here. Maybe we'll get to a little bit of it, right? So I just wanted to start with talking about 2020. How was your season this year in Alaska?
It was good. It was a wild one. I'll share a little bit about mine, and then Emma can go. When the pandemic hit, we were out and on Alaska, and the boats had just finished cod, and it just seemed it was interesting to be so apart, but also wanting to know so much about like information that was going on. And then we were out there for the majority of it, and it was a safe, good place to be. And then the first sort of like managing expectations and safety, etc., was when we started our tendering season in Prince William Sound in the beginning of June. And that was an interesting one because we were so excited to see our fleet and like just adore them and love them so much, like coupled with this, like we've been in quarantine for so long, and like having those safety procedures mapped out was easy to follow. And then when we finally got to the grounds and like saw those familiar faces and just like fell into the habits, it was so good. It was interesting, like the normalcy we found on the water. I think both fishermen and everyone involved were craving that. And we were very, very fortunate to spend those couple months in the Sound doing what we usually do.
Yeah. And Prince William Sound was like a litmus test this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, really positive experience. And it was just like appreciated every single day being able to see our fishermen and just have that connection. And then like little habits, like we just didn't go to, and we'd deliver and didn't go into town at all, just stayed on the water. And it's easy and wonderful there. So it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Claire and I were on different boats this summer, which is, we fished a little bit together in the fall for halibut, but I think in May I headed up to Alaska with my husband Jacob, and we got the boat going in Cordova for the early Copper River season, and we spent the first 2 weeks kind of like in quarantine in the boatyard, and then we moved to the boat harbor, and then it was really interesting just trying to, keep to ourselves, but also like wanting to see friends so badly and just roam wild. But yeah, getting out into the groove of just being on the water, and that felt really normal and was a huge relief after being sort of locked down at home for the previous couple months. And then in June and July and August, I headed out to Area M and stayed with our dad and our crew and drove the skiff for our seiner, and it was great. I definitely out there, we were really cognizant of trying to keep the community safe in the port. We were home port in King Cove, so we were very careful when we got to town and kind of just shipped out as soon as we got there, tried to stay out on the fishing grounds. But once we were out there, it was nice because we had our little Zodiac and could go to shore a lot and just, hang out on the beach and hike. And on days off, that was really nice. Fishing, kept us busy enough, and we had a really good summer, just kind of like every time it seems like on the boat sometimes there's there's someone always like thinking about what's happening on land, and this summer we were all very resigned to the fact that like we're not missing out on much, so
No, you
yeah.
definitely were not missing out. If you had the wilds of
Yeah,
Alaska at your
I
disposal.
know. So grateful for that. And yeah, we had a really, once we got into the new rhythm of just like taking temperatures every day on the boat, logging them, just being careful on land. And yeah, it was a great summer, and yeah, just so awesome to be out. Yeah, exactly as you said, out in the wilds doing what we like to do best with the family and friends. So
And then
yeah.
Emma doesn't have service most of the summer. And so I do in Prince William Sound. So it was like a really interesting dynamic of like, Emma, this is what's happening in the world
Yeah.
by
Whoa.
like seriously topics, seriously updates. And then when we finally were able to get together in like late August, a long line together, it was just this constant flood of like me having information about the outside world, bringing it to Emma, my dad, and the crew, and just it was hilarious actually. And it's just the same dynamic Emma's mentioning about like that normalcy on the water and crewmen involved in all of our operations realizing how special that is and like how comfortable and happy they are like in the present there, and just coming back for like the next season where they usually don't take breaks, etc. And just water is a safe place right now.
Yeah, for sure. So your dad is Buck Laukitis, and were you on the Halcyon with him, or were you on different boats?
Yeah, I tender with my husband Peter on the Halcyon in Prince William Sound, and then Emma fishes with him on his boat, the Stanley K in Falls.
Oh, okay, great.
And then we all go on the Stanley K with him at the end of the year to Longline.
Oh,
Yeah.
so that's when you were doing the halibut together this fall?
Yeah.
Nice. That sounds fantastic.
Good.
And yeah, I mean, it's just great when, we were just talking before we started recording about people actually managing to get along with their families. And that's really no different in commercial fishing. I mean, that is every year for a lot of people. Close quarters with the family is just business as usual.
That's good training. That's true.
Yeah. So how has your work on Salmon Sisters this year been different?
Yeah, it's been a wild year. It's actually been a huge blessing in disguise for our small business, 100%. We were coming off of like 2 years of just like rapid growth. Emma and I are like focused on our commercial fishing, because without the fishing, there is no Salmon Sisters. So like dealing with that constant like push and pull. And we had a pretty large team in our standards coming into last March. And then just with like economic climate, ability to make change, like we closed all of our stores across Alaska and downsized the team to just Emma, myself, and our 2 people in Homer. So with that transition coupled with seeing this incredible demand for just like Alaska seafood to your door, we were able to just pivot really quickly there in that April-May timeframe. And yeah, we're already like weirdly are good at like remote leadership, as like we are on the boat every summer and we're used to like texting all the things like finding service in the crow's nest and like just constant daily change. So that like risk and like that wasn't much of a challenge for us. Like we excel at that more than others, I would say. But getting our business aligned with like priorities with our personal life and our fishing life, and moving into the pandemic, we were able to do it pretty quickly. And so the summer, I managed it from the boat. Emma was fishing, and our team was incredible. They were so gritty and resilient and wonderful, and we just focused on getting fish to people and then being able to like help supplement, get like women items to be outdoors and on the water. And those were our 2 focuses, and it is wonderful. It's good. Along with the book, just like teaching people how to eat at home. It was like a really, it was good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been nice to have I guess like as you said, our cookbook came out at a kind of weird but really good time. I think it was published in April, so it kind of came out right when this is all starting to happen, and it felt like just like a big relief to be able to give people something to do at home and to accompany our fish that we've been trying to get to people, and just kind of like giving people a tool to learn how to cook fish, which has been really fun to see how people are doing with that.
Right. And, you know, if you guys grew up, like I said, I just wanted to show the book again. You grew up fishing and cooking on a remote island in Alaska without easy access to grocery stores. So, you know, it wasn't that different than what a lot of people were dealing with when they had to shut down and quarantine in March, April, and May this year. Yeah. But also so the pandemic has led you to a new project that you're working on, right? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, we are fortunate we launched a Kickstarter. I'm just trying to get like the Salmon Sisters story and that educational piece of the cookbook coupled with like premium wild Alaska salmon to a new audience. And they're beautiful salmon sockeye fillets that Emma was part of at Fishing Out West. And this is like the first opportunity. Salmon Sisters has always, like, we've supplied Alaska salmon. We have a fulfillment center we work with in Washington State to get people like that perfect 10-pound box, few portions in the book. But this is the first opportunity we've had to really, as the educational piece of the book, have the story and then also the product in one. So we have a Kickstarter we just started for the next 2 weeks, and there's like a variety of boxes from like a starter of like 3 fillets up to like the mega salmon fill your freezer family. Wow. But yeah, it's been wonderful. We've found just like explosion of folks who are interested in they're just eating all their fish in restaurants, and then with pandemic interested in trying it at home, becoming comfortable with it at home, and then wanting to move up into like larger quantities and then gifting and sharing it with more. It's become the most like shareable item. It's been really special to see.
Yeah, that's a great evolution of product, to see it get spread around a little bit more and have people be more comfortable cooking it at home, which is great. Especially wild salmon, because it's not the same as farm salmon, which a lot of people outside of the West Coast are used to seeing. Like, that's mostly what's in the grocery stores. So it's a really different product, you know. So getting people used to cooking wild fish is just like, that's where we need to be, you know.
Yeah, and I think also just the idea that a lot of Alaskans are really used to of having a freezer that's stocked with food. I mean, I think as fishermen, we're really lucky to have the ability to do that and bring home some of our catch and, you know, put it up for winter. But having, especially this year, just having a freezer full of healthy food that you can go to and, you know, like, you know, make less trips to the grocery store and just have it on hand for your family it just feels good. I think maybe it's like our family's just always done it, and being able to have it right there and know that you've got good food on hand is so good. And hoping to maybe share that a little bit more with people who've never done it before and have never needed to stock up.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We have a full-size refrigerator, a spare refrigerator, and a full chest freezer, that stand-up chest freezer, and they're always full all the time. They're as full as I can get them. Yeah. I don't know if it's a compulsion. I don't know what it is, but I hadn't really thought about that until people were buying out freezers. I mean, freezers, there was a run on freezers and refrigerators and other home appliances. So that's an excellent point too, that most fishermen are used to having to store that home pack from the season. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've gotten a lot of feedback just as like the home cooking component, and also just like the homeschool component about like families ordering a box and then working through recipes with their kids, and then also just like salmon lifestyle and like all like that element and like fishing practices. And it's been interesting. We've gotten a lot of feedback that like, wow, this box gave us X amount of activities, food, and something to connect it as a family on, and that's been really rewarding.
Yeah. That's great. That is a great project. I'm really excited to see one of those. I'm going to get one for myself.
Thank you.
And speaking of which, you guys, I mean, you have tons of great products. I know you have a partnership with Extra Tough, and you have your own line of clothing, and you've got some Grundens, layering pieces too. so I just wanted to say, you know, we're going to be working with you guys to do some giveaways around Expo Online. So if you're looking at this video on nationalfisherman.com, you can look just below the video for links and information on how to participate and where to, you know, to buy more Salmon Sisters stuff if you don't get the win. But we're definitely going to do some signed cookbooks because you are in your you're about to release the second printing, right? Because the first one sold out.
Yeah, we are super grateful for all the people reading our book, and we have a second edition print coming out in early to mid-November. So we're really excited to be sending all those books out when they are finished printing, and they should be restocked at all pretty much wherever books are sold. You can find them.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So what is yours when you are talking to people about recipes, when you can't just give them a book? What's your go-to recipe if someone wants a simple fish dish?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think one of our favorites that isn't even in the book is just to do a simple rice bowl with fish on top, which it could be salmon, it could be whitefish, it could be halibut, whatever cod, whatever you have on hand. And basically what is pretty much what we eat all summer on the boat is just some good rice. Sometimes we'll put we pull out the rice cooker, easy to do it in a pot, and put some coconut milk in there with the rice, so make a nice coconut rice, a little bit of salt, maybe saute or bake your fish with some simple seasoning, just salt and pepper, and then maybe find a fun sauce or make like a peanut sauce or something more soy based or miso soy based with ginger, something like that, and then a bunch of veggies, saute them or fresh, and then put them all together in a bowl. Maybe put some seeds or nuts or sprouts or whatever you've got on top, and that's just a go-to for us and really easy. It's more of a concept than a recipe. So.
Yeah, that's a lot. I think that's how a lot of people who are, you know, who cook at home a lot, that's they find a theme that works.
Exactly.
Yeah, that sounds really good.
With like our biggest conversation with our customers and just community is like, if you can start with a quality fish product, like a wild Alaska seafood base, then you're just set up for success in every way, just with like the quality, texture, taste. Like if you're starting with a perfect product, then it's pretty foolproof. Like you got it. And just like all the additional like frozen techniques, like from frozen to finish, like that has been something we've been talking up a lot with like our product form, and just that amount of like perfect from the grounds quality brought to you, and you're able to enjoy it there. So as Emma said, pretty inventive on the like final meal, but if you can start off with that product, then you're set, you're gold.
Yeah, absolutely. What goes into it has a lot to do with what comes out.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite thing to make in the galley versus your favorite thing to eat on board, like something that someone else makes?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Someone else cooking it is the best.
Yeah, it is. It always tastes better.
Yeah. But going back to like boat life, like if it's hot, if it's enough, and it's ready on time, qualifications. And if someone else has like some creative influence, Emma was lucky she had a friend from school who like enjoyed that element. But it's though we've talked about it a lot, it's like the one way to express your creativity on board is cooking if you're not intimidated by it. And yeah, I'd say I don't have a favorite. It's just those elements, and people are satisfied because food is the one reassuring element. Like it'll get you through the day, and you have to eat well or you're just gonna burn out. It's gonna be bad.
Yeah. Well, I would say my favorite thing to be fed is probably like a fish taco with fried fish in it, and that's always tough on the boat. Just like oils everywhere, and you're hot, and there's a lot going on in the waves, but so good. And this summer especially, we were doing a lot of like fried halibut tacos with like pickled red onions on top. We have a jar going all the time, and some cabbage, and just those are hard to beat. And I think to cook myself, I love making soups. So I really like a recipe that we have in our book that's a coconut curry fish soup, and it's super easy. And I like to put salmon in it. It's a really fresh taste, and it's coconut milk based, and then it has some like lime juice and some curry and veggies on hand, and it's super easy to make, and it just seems like super satisfying. And you can make it more of a curry if you make a pot of rice, and it goes farther, and it's just easy, and super delicious.
Yeah, I've made that one. That is really good.
Yeah,
it's a yummy one.
Yum.
So what is there a dish that you only eat when you're on board, or something that you just really only eat in the summer season?
I can't say it's a dish, but I have an affinity for Pop-Tarts. It's bad. Like towards the end of the long lining, we'll go to Safeway in Dutch Harbor and be like, okay, what flavor? What are we gonna do here? And we have a younger cousin who works with us. He's 18, and it is a bonding experience. And those and coffee in the morning are between like you're like, I can survive this. Like this will get me through.
Yeah, well, on the other end of the spectrum, I would say the things like, because we're on the boat, we're catching things that we don't normally buy in the grocery store. So there's a couple things in the book that have to do with octopus, and sometimes we get an octopus, and that is very exciting because we can make the octopus salad and patties in the book, and they're so good. They're so fun and fresh and amazing food, just the most amazing food to eat. And also we catch some sea urchins, and those are always a delight to just put on the uni, or the sea eggs, to put on maybe a quick rice or sushi or something, or a cracker. Just things that are fresh. Yeah, coming up fresh are the best things, and hard to find otherwise. So feel lucky to eat them.
Yeah, I've had your octopus, your tinned octopus. That was really good. I don't think I'd ever had Pacific octopus before, and it's really different from what most people would get in a restaurant because it's bycatch only, right?
Yeah, right. And it's, I feel like the octopus most people are used to eating is more of a Mediterranean octopus, and that is much smaller. And so the Pacific octopus has these huge legs, and like one tentacle, or the little suckers are like the size of your fingernail. It's just kind of, whoa, this is a sea creature.
Yeah.
But so good, and yeah, we love eating it. We grew up eating it, and yeah, it's very, very special food. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that summer fishing only kind of dish. So what do you get excited to eat? And I know this is a lot about food, but we are sort of trying to focus on your cookbook. So, and I could talk about food all day. So I just want to, we can move on a little bit from here, but what's something that you really get excited about eating and making, or just being able to find when you're not on the boat, like as the season's coming to a close?
Oh yeah, that's a great one. I definitely like daydream all the time about just fruit mostly. And getting back to land is always like, someone's got, it's usually around September that we're done fishing, and that seems like harvest season in Alaska, and so everyone's gardens are ready to be picked, and there's always such good stuff coming out of our moms, especially just leafy greens and beets and carrots. And after being on the boat for a long time, we don't have great access to fresh food, so it's just such a treat to have something crunchy and green. Or like a plum, or like a peach, which seems very exotic when you're out on the boat. Yeah.
No, for me as well, just anything that has a crunch. Just
That's not fried.
Yeah. Frozen or bread, like I don't know. Anything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can understand that. So moving away a little bit from like the fresh seafood of the summer, what's your favorite tinned fish or seafood?
Yeah, mine is the same, like the folks that you're talking about earlier who do the smoked octopus. Their name's Wild Fish Cannery, and they operate at a Klawak, and it's a young man named Matthew who's excellent in all things, and he's been doing some really inventive different smoked and canned options, but also his just smoked canned salmon varieties are excellent. And they're the things like we gift friends and family across the nation. It's just the easiest, like easiest to prepare, easiest to share. It's fun. It's great. He does a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I will include his link in the write-up if you can send that to me. I'd love to share that.
That would be cool. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I feel the same. Our mom is really big on smoking salmon, and then she jars it. So we are sometimes the lucky recipients of a few jars every winter, and it's so good. It's just so good. She does she cold smokes her salmon, and then she does a salt brine and then brown sugar, and so it's really simple, but it's just that smoky sweet, just so nice.
Yeah, tastes like home too. That helps.
Right.
Yeah. And what about your favorite non-Alaskan? Do you eat much seafood outside that comes from outside of Alaska?
A little bit. Yeah, we were thinking about this, and maybe the most exciting seafood experience that we've had outside of Alaska has been like a crawfish boil. My husband is from Louisiana, and his family, every time we go back, his family throws the big boil in the backyard, and it is pretty dang fun just to eat with your hands and get dirty and drink a cold beer. It's great. It's a really good time.
Yeah.
A lot of flavor in Cajun cooking.
Okay.
So
Get those spices on your fingers.
yeah. Exactly. Get it in your eyes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know Emma was married last fall, and his Louisiana contingent came up, and we had like a boil with some Alaska seafood variety plus like crawfish and like things they brought up, and it was such a magical thing to bring like that tradition to the Alaskan fishermen. We're like, wait, what? Like this is community and food and like gathering and everything we love. Like, wait, how can we get in on this? Basically, it was funny. It's good.
Yeah. Where was that wedding?
It was in Homer.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Food Central.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the Salmon Sisters brand is known for quality and authenticity. You know, it's built on your actual lifestyle, your family, your childhood, and your adult lives as well. What are the things that you like, the elements that you look for when you're exploring a new product to launch?
Yeah, that's a great question. I wish we had a more scientific approach, but it is more like something that comes from that season on the water that Emma and I's just like gut reaction, like aligns with where we're working, what we're doing, and like what is really exciting us at the time. Like it's just like inspiration from the place, certain colors, like our community, what they need and want. And just going back to like the layering pieces are just like our company's values, that accountability and just like integrity of product. And we just have to admit that like, yes, we have this like lifestyle clothing line and accessories, etc. But like the bulk of our product right now is Wild Alaska seafood, and you can't get better than that. And like all of its like, yeah, traits. And so it's an interesting like thing to watch Salmon Sisters. Like the product is something we couldn't be more proud of at this point, and we're able to just help tell that story. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And I think when we're making new gear, it sort of feels like the process has been, okay, would we wear this? Would we wear this? Could we work in this? Is this something that speaks to our community and represents them? And it seems, I mean, since we started, we've been trying to make things and like gear and designs that represent our like fishermen in Alaska. And so would they be proud to wear this? And does it speak to something that they hold dear to them? And those are values that I think apply beyond the like our small fishing community, and more people, you know, obviously more people have really it's resonated with them outside of Alaska too. And so I think we just try to keep it pretty specific to the people that we started this for, and it seems to be working pretty well. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It just seems really natural, a very natural process to just gut. It's basically a gut check every time. It's like, is this something that we love?
Right, exactly. Do what you love. Keep doing what
Yeah.
you love. So
Yeah.
that is a good segue actually to Extra Tough. So you have a partnership with Extra Tough Boots, which is the quintessential Alaskan fisherman boot. So that seems like it would gel really well with that philosophy of, you know, doing what's authentic to your community. How did that partnership come about? And, you know, what's it like to work with them on new designs? Because you guys are sort of known for being at the cusp of their like design revolution. I feel like, you know, Extra Tough has changed so much in terms of what they are offering in the last few years, including the Salmon Sisters designs.
Mm.
We're super fortunate to work with them. It comes from a funny, like we were in Shipyard in Oregon, and it was the classic, like you're so overwhelmed and you're just like, okay, I need to take 5 minutes to scroll through my phone and look at emails. And there's an email from their team that we're like, wait, this couldn't be real. This could not be real. And how did, like, how? And just like forwarding it to Emma, being like, Emma, look at this. And we have to like give credit where it's due. Is their Alaska rep, Steve Haynes, like he understood more about what Salmon Sisters was capturing and like that people resonating with the brand across Alaska before we did, as we were pretty like insular in our little, like our fishing routine and then living in Homer. And he had connections with Extra Tough and was able to explain like, people just get this glimmer in the eye when they talk about it. It's just something they can connect with, especially like coastal communities in Alaska. And so we have to thank him for that. And then Extra Tough taking a chance on us. And it's just been a natural fit ever since. Like Emma will provide them with design work and patterns that she's created. She's really inspired by and interested of that season. And then they have been the powerhouses of creating like the particular styles. And just like that innovation. I wish we could say we could contribute like all the really cool fancy boots they're putting out. We have a like design element say and help them with like marketing and community feedback. But they're doing a great job there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been really fun to just see the progression of people wearing the boots too. And when we started working with Extra Tough, they were just launching their women's boots, which seems pretty wild at this point because it just seems like everyone's wearing them. And before that, we're all just fitting into the men's sizes. So yeah, it's been really, really wonderful to just see people all over wearing not just the legacy boots, but the short deck boots and the more casual styles. And just seeing them fit into people's lifestyles, like on the water and off the water. And it's been really fun to think about the things that really inspire us from the ocean and try to visualize those into a pattern that is special to other people wearing these boots, and just trying to get people outside and moving. And it's just, you know, such functional gear that you can do anything we do everything in our Extra Tough. So it's just been a really natural partnership, and we're excited for the future. We've got some new ones coming.
Well, I'm excited too.
When we see someone wearing the boots, we're like, wait, what? They took a chance, like they're wearing them, like, wait, what? It's so cool. And just as Emma was saying, it's like started from our tiny women commercial fishing sector to now like women who are working and playing on the water, and then just that focus on getting women outdoors and some like just a piece of gear that they can work on the water, play on the water, just have that confidence and be outside living their best life. And we're still just so tickled when we see someone wearing them, and especially the older patterns, and it'll be an interesting progression watching like those become iconic, and then like as the progression going back to like the iconic no printed boot, like we've watched amongst our peers be like, like we have the pair, just these interesting just trends. And they're doing a great job of quickly reacting to those, and I can't wait to see what they do next. Hopefully, it'll be great.
Yeah, it seems like they're pretty prolific, but you guys are too. I mean, you're always, I feel like maybe this is sort of what you were talking about at the beginning, the last couple of years, just being jam-packed with new ideas. I think it's definitely obvious from the other side, you know, that you guys have been really busy.
That's coming from like the fishing background where you can pretty much figure out anything. So it's sort of like take that, and just like our grit, basically, just knowing, like having such small expectations and knowing nothing is predictable. It's been a fun way to navigate it. Yeah.
Yeah. So in navigating this, you know, these next chapters in your lives, getting married, moving away from home, Emma, you're in Seattle. Claire, are you in Homer?
Yeah, I'm in Homer, and the last couple of years have kind of turned into like a third on the boat, a third in Homer, a third in Dutch Harbor. And that's from families. Boats are focused fishing out there. My husband Peter runs one of them, and then we're tendering in the summer and long lining. So it's been a really wonderful natural fit with Emma and I running the business, and then having that amount of connectivity in Prince William Sound to run Salmon Sisters from your phone.
Yeah, that is amazing.
Yeah.
So your dad served on the North Pacific Fishery Management Council. Have you ever thought about serving in a political capacity or management?
Oh, that's a great question. It's kind of, if the opportunity presents itself, we would be loved to be more involved, and just understanding the importance of being at that table. Like, we absolutely 100% know the value of that, and it's crucial. It's a funny thing. It's like Emma and I's personalities it's like not what we are inclined
to.
Also, absolutely from the bottom of our hearts, understanding like this livelihood that's been handed to us, and to be able to run our small business is off the coattails of so much tireless, effortless work, and just people, oh my gosh, their dedication and involvement and sticking their necks out and doing the things. And so very much aware of like, we have been recipients of that and the responsibility to give back in that capacity, and just what we can do to get more young people involved. And just like knowing, like, we always kind of go back to like, well, we don't have enough experience, we don't know enough. And we're like, we know a little bit, and we know how to piece it together. And there's just so much opportunity to learn and grow, and mentorship, that it's there and it needs to be taken seriously. Yeah. And we hope to start that in our personal lives and our fishing lives. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's so much about fisheries management that is just so interesting to us, and kind of that intersectionality between all the stakeholders involved, and just being able to see how that puzzle works out and be involved in that. But I think there is also a beauty in being a free agent and being able to kind of affect change from the outside or in a different way. That's been really kind of beautiful to be a part of, and maybe just come at it from a little bit different angle. It's, you know, what we're trying to do every day is just inspire people and connect them to the ocean and make them feel like they're part of this whole system, and that, you know, that they can do something that matters too. And I think, you know, it's also important, like, and hopefully well, the work we've been able to do has been impactful in some ways that make people realize that. And, you know, we have the easy job here. It's just, you know, we get to celebrate everyone's livelihood on the water, and it comes pretty naturally to us. And yeah, we're always evolving, but this has been a pretty good deal for us. So yeah, we're lucky.
I mean, we just want someone like the next generation to build the next Salmon Sisters. Like, we want those 13-year-olds right now to like do it. Like, we want to pass it on, and hopefully have inspired this younger generation to just build whatever they need and what they want, and just that celebration. And yeah, this is, we can help facilitate the community, but this is not Emma and I's thing, and we want it to be everyone. So finding that,
yeah, well, I can say that your pull is definitely magnetic. I think you're definitely inspirational. But I also have to say that most fishermen who get involved in management and politics don't think that they're qualified to talk about those things, and still until they start to talk to the people who are perceived as being qualified to talk about those things, and then they realize, oh, I know enough if
Yeah.
not too much.
That's a
You
great
know,
point.
but that's just one way of giving back. And I know that you have been really involved in some charitable and community, community programs to give back to your local communities, but also some larger charitable giving groups. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, since we started, like the first sweatshirt we did, we would pair with a nonprofit organization, like working in our coastal communities across Alaska, and do like small projects or donations. And we saw our communities responded so well with this like impactful way to give through our business. And then a year or two down the road, we were able to like grow as a small business, and we started working with our processor, Silver Bay Seafoods, to take a portion of like their canned donation and bring it back to the Food Bank of Alaska in Anchorage, and then they would distribute amongst the entire state. So more like Salmon Sisters grew up a little bit and was able to create our own little philanthropic program, and we had that support of Silver Bay to get that product and be able to tell that story of like Alaska's commercial fishermen feeding the world, and then coupling it with getting it to the people who need it the most. And I mean, there's nothing that's like superfood, and to just be able to naturally work with our partners and create that little connection and giving program has been huge for us, huge for our team, and like our community and customers resonate with it very, very, very well.
And you hit a milestone this year, didn't you, with that?
Yeah, we have donated over 150,000 cans, and on track for the end of this year, we're working on our donation to bring it up right around the holidays to Anchorage. So yeah, all we hope is it inspires other commercial giving or folks, and also remembering like it doesn't need to be a dollar value. It could be mentorship or time or anything, but to just make that an integral part of your business is the giving back. Really rewarding. And yeah, I mean, it's so good. Yeah, very thankful to work with all parties involved and foresee this growing and more opportunity to create those little connections of getting that product to the food bank. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. Did you want to add something, Emma? Sorry, I didn't want to step on you.
Oh, that's okay. No, I think, something we've been thinking about a lot this fall has just been the ways that in Alaska, the food bank loves like wild caught fish, and also for hunters, there's a opportunity to donate some of the harvest for the season, and also for people growing gardens. So if anyone is listening who has a little bit extra to share, there's a lot of opportunities at your local food bank. I know the Food Bank of Alaska would love to have more local foods, and a lot of meat and fish is really appreciated. So we've been really grateful, and we've heard a lot of great feedback from the people at the food bank from the fish. Everyone really, that goes really fast. And so yeah, felt really good to give more of that, and also just be getting that fish straight from our fisheries and the fishermen who are out working hard to catch it. So yeah,
that's great. Wild harvest all around.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we are, we're coming to an end here on our time limit. So I just want to say thank you so much for joining me here today. I'm on the East Coast, you guys are West Coast in Alaska, and it feels like next year is really far away right now. So it's really nice to be able to catch up with you and see your faces, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're gonna miss seeing everyone out of their fishing clothes and in the streets of Seattle. So yeah. Yeah, this is really nice.
It'll be good. Yeah. But yeah, thank you for all you do, Jess. Really appreciate it. And thank you for taking the time to talk to us, especially about the book. It's special.
Yeah. So again, the second printing is should be launching around the time that this video goes live. So we'll include some links to that and hopefully some giveaways. And I'm really looking forward to seeing your new salmon box project too.
Thank you. Appreciate
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, you guys.
Thanks.
Take care.